Hi, this is Ed again, and the date is July the 12th, 2020. And let me see, what are my go-to things? Oh, first of all, I'm 80 years old. Since I've been doing these videos the last couple of years, my wife always advises me against mentioning my age, but and I'm not sure why I do it, but maybe I'm arguing that I might be one of the oldest YouTubers on YouTube. Not a claim, by the way, but anyway. Now, today, I'm feeling maybe somewhat vindicated because for the last, since this, coronavirus, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, thing has been going on, I've been a pretty strong believer in, where I started out was by insisting and believing that the reality of what was going on was not nearly as frightening as the information that we were getting. And I still to this day claim I have not had documentation or information of one case of a healthy person in the world that got the disease and died of it. Not one case. And I am convinced that has not happened. I think that the true part, whatever is truth about the virus thing, is this virus is a relatively mild kind of disease. I'm giving it that much that there's something there. Anyway, as I've gone along, I get closer and closer to saying the whole damn thing is a farce, and it's driven by fear, and the conduit is social media. That is computer access. Now, the reason I say I feel slightly vindicated is because whenever I spout my beliefs, which are basically, this thing is not that dangerous, and regardless of how dangerous it is, we have to get back to living our lives. We have to get back to working, running our businesses, running schools, and all those sort of things. And that has not been happening. Here in Mexico, and I don't know if we're following some wider protocol, a world protocol or a North American protocol or what, but in the last week or 10 days or so, we have more restaurants and bars open, that kind of thing, small businesses operating and so on. A good friend of mine down the street just reopened their restaurant. We're real happy about that. We stopped there the other day and had breakfast there. And so we're happy about that. But just a little bit aside, I think it was the day before yesterday, we go for a walk at least once a day, often just in the early evening where we take Lucy for a walk down the street several blocks. Anyway, we're watching and we saw an example of the extreme fear end of the information pandemic or whatever you want to call it, the infodemic, the information problem. Here's what happened. While all around us we're happy that the rest of the world or the rest of our society is kind of opening up, get back to restaurants are opening, whatever rules have been going around are softening and that kind of thing. But we saw right on the street, as we happened to be walking with our Lucy, a pizza being delivered. And the pizza guy went up to the house, stopped the car, the people came to the door. The door was not open. The people were looking through a glass part of the door. And the pizza guy goes, "Here's your pizza." And they give him some kind of signal. No. What they insisted was he passed the pizza under the door. There was enough space for him to pass the pizza. And after they got the pizza, they handed the money through a little opening in the upper part of the door. And I'm thinking, I mean, there was part of me that wanted to say, well, that's funny, but it's not certainly funny in a humorous kind of way, because I feel for those people. They're terrified, and what the hell are they doing? They've got themselves, they're locking themselves in their homes, and I still see examples of people. I mean, you know, those people are probably very uneducated and all of that, but that's not the only place that this infodemic, or whatever we want to call it, this information virus, this is not the only place that it exists. There's much more people that you would think would be more well-informed that are still suffering under that, the fears. Anyway, it's what I'm seeing is, on the one hand, governments and whatever organizations are controlling this thing are saying, okay, it's okay to open restaurants, and each business is kind of running with its own protocol. Like some insist on masks. Like, a funny one is a drugstore. Glenda tried to go to the other day down here. She needed to get something for me. And the people say, no, you can't come in and buy drugs without a mask. And the hypocrisy of that, I mean, is like a slap in the face. So you can't go into the drugstore to buy drugs that maybe, who knows, could be very important to your well-being, because of a possible, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's like a chupacabra kind of thing, you know, the superstition kind of thing. So, on the one hand, you have that kind of protocol being, you know, and I understand a business doing that, because maybe some people say, oh, these employees are not even wearing a mask or something or other. This is crazy. But the more I look at it, and after watching that information, that video on the idea of this, the information virus part of this thing, I'm just convinced more and more, I lean more and more towards the idea that the whole damn thing is an information bias. An information bias and an information bias virus. Anyway, so I feel a little bit, as I say, that finally, some people are coming onto my side. I have not found one person in the months, either by telephone, online, or personally, locally, that agrees with me about how much this pandemic that they're calling it. Oh, by the way, I heard another term, plandemic. Mine is the pandademic, but now there's also this not infodemic, yeah. Driven by information anyway. I haven't been able to find one person until I watched that. And this guy doing the presentation on the thing is saying, what we've got is this infodemic, information virus or whatever you call it, running alongside of the whatever's actually happened. And he's saying the information virus is at least as dangerous as the other virus. I'm convinced that it's almost totally the danger is the information and our fear of the information. So, I mean, yeah, on all my recent videos, I've probably been somewhat expressing my beliefs. The idea is we are afraid of nothing. And I keep presenting this thing, asking people, do you know anybody that either has the virus, and if they had the virus, what were the results of that? And it's always, well, yes, I have a friend of my brother's, and he had the virus, and you hear stories of, but now he's okay. Or, yeah, a friend of my, somebody actually died of the virus, but you can't find them. If this thing is anything like it's purported to be, the danger that's purported to be, surely to hell wouldn't we at least find somebody that is, that has, yeah, I had it. I was, whatever they tell you, I was really sick, or didn't really bother me that much, or whatever. But it just doesn't make sense that when we can't find those kinds of things. Anyway, the real point of this thing today, if there is a point, I'm always rambling, is that I feel vindicated a little bit when I saw that video talking about this real problem. They called it either fake news or false information, or information that was misleading or just totally incorrect about what's going on. And one of the things I want to point out is that on the reason there is on the enter of this video, this YouTube channel, of course, is Atheist the Bird with No Cage. And I'd just like to point out again that don't worry, folks, God is imaginary, angels are imaginary, devils are imaginary. There is no big devil, Satan, or something like that. That's all imaginary. They're like all the rest of the fairy tales in the world. The Bible is a fairy tale for adults. The Bible that we know of, and so is the Muslim Bible, the Quran. They're just adult fairy tales. Totally, there's absolutely no truth. In the case of this virus we're talking about, I give a little bit of room that there may be a new disease in the world, a new virus in the world. And then I push back really hard against that what it is or what it's actually done. But in the case of religion, there's no middle ground. It is all 100% made up nonsense. There's no gods, there's no angels, there's no devils, there's none of that magic shit. There's no guys walking on water or flying a horse up to heaven to get messages. It's all bullshit. And I use the term bullshit, which sounds like aggressive. Most of the religious folks, I think at least many of them, actually believe what they're saying, and just they actually think believe they're doing a good thing. That's why when people find out that they're wrong, lose their faith or whatever they call it, it's such a shock, but it's such a relief. It's so good to live in a world where there's no spirits or gods or any bullshit. And thanks once again to Ron Reagan. He is a lifelong atheist. I've been an atheist all my adult life, let's put it that way, but only faced the idea and come out and was able to say, about 18, 20 years ago, I finally took a good look at the issue and said, no, it's all bullshit. I'm an atheist. I don't believe any of it. Okay, thanks for sticking with me through my side of patting myself in the back and saying I'm slightly vindicated in my stance that what the world is going through right now is almost totally a sham. But I'm cheering for us to ease our way out of it, and concerned about the folks like the people down the road that are hiding in their house, like, I don't know. The message is be like a rat and hide in your house, hide in your hole, whatever, and don't ever go near another human being. Certainly don't touch another human being ever again in your life. Horrible message, horrible anti-human and all of that. And that's all for today, because I'm already rambling and everything. Thank you. See you again in the next one. I'm Ed. I'm 80 years old. This is Atheist, the Bird with No Cage. Talk to you next time.